Hi, this is Ali Tadion with EdSource. And I was going to ask, it was only a few weeks ago when the requirement for state employees was announced. What happened between then and now to warrant this new requirement? Don't you think you're cutting it a little close to the start of school?
I think we're doing the right thing, and I'm very grateful that the state took leadership by requiring all state employees, about 246,000 state employees. We appreciate what was followed up after that announcement. So many cities, including Oakland, followed suit all up and down the state of California, aligning with those state requirements. And then we saw businesses do the same. You saw some of the nation's largest private companies from Google, Facebook, Uber, Lyft, and Disney follow suit. We have been working with our partners in our education system, 1,050 plus school districts. We're trying to support the needs of 6.1 million public school kids. And we have been engaged to address the concerns and anxiety around reopening our schools. I was down in San Bernardino last week meeting with leaders there as we reopened that school. A school, by the way, that didn't reopen last year. They were an exception. But it was an example of a school that did everything in their power, a district rather, to prepare for this year. But also we talked about vaccines. We had an opportunity to talk beyond masks, and it initiated a series of conversations that led to this moment in this first-in-the-nation announcement we're making today.
Jill Tucker from the San Francisco Chronicle. In some districts where they've already adopted this, including San Francisco and Oakland last night, there's been some pushback from parents and teachers saying it doesn't go far enough because it's a choice between the vaccine or getting tested once a week. Did you consider making this a more restrictive mandate that would have limited exemptions and require more teachers and educators and staff in schools to get vaccinated?
We think this will do exactly what it is intended to do, and that's to encourage people to get vaccinated. It's what's happened at the state level. It's what happened in terms of the inspiration for the private sector to follow suit. But I've said this from day one. I mean, going back 18 months, we're open argument, interested in evidence. We don't stand still. We maintain a flexible mindset about what's happening on the ground, the epidemiology, the nature of these variants. And by the way, Delta variant's not the only variant that we're monitoring. We have over a dozen variants and mutations that we have been battling against over the course of the last many months here in the state of California. Mindful there'll be more on the horizon, and on the consequence of that, we always maintain a willingness to consider next steps. But this is, we believe, the next appropriate step. It's at scale. We appreciate Oakland. Thank you for moving last night. We appreciate Long Beach. We appreciate LA, San Francisco. But there are 1,000 plus other schools and districts in the state, or rather districts in the state, that we want to encourage along, and we believe that this will begin a process of significantly increasing vaccination rates across the spectrum and across the state.
Hi, Victoria Colliver with Politico. So, Governor, can you tell us more about how this will be enforced? Will teachers be fired if they fail to comply?
Well, it's the same way all the rules and regulations within the school system are enforced. We have an ed code, and there's progressive sanctions, and we don't distinguish this versus all the other rules and requirements. And so that rule book, that playbook is well defined in the state, and we're not concerned about that. We think we have enlightened leaders, people that recognize what's at stake, their own health, the health and safety of the children that they're serving. That's their mission, that's our mandate, and we're confident that we'll see compliance.
Hi, Governor. Sophia Bolag here from the Sacramento Bee. I understand that the announcement today only applies to teachers and staff, but if the vaccine does receive FDA approval, would you support requiring students to get vaccinated in order to attend school?
This is the announcement we're making today. We're the first to do a mask requirement in our public ed schools, among the first states, certainly among the first to move in this direction. We'll consider all options in the future. Forgive the redundancy of that response. I've maintained that for 18 months on the basis of the nature and change. And there's nothing static about this virus. The one thing we have been from day one is humbled by it. And as a consequence of that, with that humility comes the responsibility to be vigilant and vigilance demands considerations and reconsiderations. And as a consequence, we'll consider that if necessary, but we believe this is a meaningful first step.
Governor Laura Anthony with ABC7 San Francisco. 2 days ago, we met underneath the overpass in Berkeley, and I asked specifically about mandates for vaccines for teachers, and you said that you would leave that to the individual districts, the 1,000 plus, and it was bargainable. I know you're not calling this a mandate, first of all. Secondly, what changed?
Well, there are a lot of things we consider that I don't preview as we're considering them. And forgive me, process, trying to work to develop trust among our partners. We've been discussing this for some time. We want to develop a cadence of engagement and consideration. You got me cleaning up a homeless encampment in Berkeley, and that was the best response at the moment. I will assure you there's many things we're considering broadly in this state to keep people safe and protected, and I anticipate subsequent announcements over the course of weeks and over the course of the next few months in order to advance our efforts to extinguish this virus once and for all. But we engaged in robust conversations over the weekend, over the course of the last few days. We were able to land very confidently yesterday, and today we are formalizing this announcement.